You're listening to Face of a Feminist with Laura Diaz and Marissa Clark.
Welcome back to Face of a Feminist. I am Laura Diaz.
I'm Marissa Clark.
How's it going?
I'm feeling a little on edge. I don't know about you. I was like, maybe we should wait to podcast. Maybe we should go have a drink first. I don't know.
Oh, if I didn't have swill for wine in the fridge, I would offer us both a glass because
what is swill? Like cheap?
Swill,
really
like
cheap
I
wine.
mean, it is so bad. I don't even know where I got it. And I went to drink a glass of wine last night and I spit it out. That's how bad it was. And trust me, I am no, connoisseur here. I'll drink just about anything. It was that bad.
Laura, you've made it in life. What makes you buy that cheap
I didn't
of wine?
need to. It was like, oh, buy one, get one. I'm in, It wasn't like $3 either. It was in my first TV job, I made 19 grand a year.
Yeah.
And I would go to CVS and they have a $3 or $4 bottle.
Yeah.
And that is unbearable. This one was like $10 or $11.
What?
Yeah.
My, like what I call my expensive wine from ABC is $14, and it pains me every time that I buy a bottle, but it's actually really good. So for a couple dollars less, you would think that it would be drinkable.
$14, that's fancy.
I know.
$14.
And I have not made it, but you can treat yourself sometimes.
I'm like, well, I think it was like 15, but it was buy one, get one. So you figure it's like 7 each or something. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might just pour it out. It's so bad.
Yeah. Is there like another purpose for what? Like, can you multi-purpose?
Can you like clean with it?
Right. Like I was thinking fertilize your plants or something. I don't know.
Like vinegar. I use vinegar. It stinks, but it cleans like a mother.
So I wanted to tell you, part of the reason I'm so on edge is, well, first off, today has just been a day. But actually I will say that last week we were updating people on what a god awful week it was. This week has improved with the exception of just like the past 2 hours.
Right. I mean, it is Tuesday.
Right. Exactly. We're still early in the
We're
week.
screwed.
And I also have not been, what I thought? I've not been to my apartment yet and I have packages waiting. So I'm really nervous to go see if they are in pristine condition or if
the burglar
got to me before I did. No. So I was at Whole Foods yesterday, speaking of expensive things. And, it was kind of like a last resort situation where I just needed to run in. I needed to grab something and leave. So they've got that, like at Whole Foods, they've got that hot bar,
Oh, yeah.
Just like, and it's all really good stuff. And they've got a salad bar. So I just wanted to run in. I needed a salad and I needed it quickly. And I was going to leave. And I walk up and there was this woman standing there and she was clearly very angry. And she's like basically yelling at one of the employees there. And I hate that because it's like, no matter what is going on in your life, like don't take it out on the poor woman who's restocking the salad bar.
Right.
And so she's like, and I couldn't quite tell what the disagreement was over. And eventually I went to go, scoop out my iceberg lettuce and put it in my bowl. And I find out the reason that she's mad is because they didn't have any organic baby kale in stock. And it had completely ruined this woman's day. And she was like, you've got regular organic kale, you've got mixed greens with organic kale in it, but there is no organic baby kale. And she's just like letting it out on this poor woman. And I was like, I wanted to be like, ma'am, there's no reason to be this sensitive. Like it's all going to be okay. You've probably got something else going on in your life, but do not misdirect this anger on the poor employee.
No, anyone, including me, who's acting like that, it's always something else.
Right.
It's never the issue in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. But can you imagine? Like that's just, she was so sensitive.
Can you imagine
it.
this lady like, listen, I'm getting paid $10 an hour.
Right.
I'm trying to make my musical dreams come true. And you are the last thing I care about right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, it just like kind of started this cycle of like, people are just so, I don't know if it's like a full moon or people are just on edge lately.
It's so funny. Like I talk with friends or whoever all the time about, I'm like, is it more sensitive than ever? It's not even, of course people say yes, of course, because the politic and just the social environment right now, people are very sensitive, no doubt about that. But I feel like people are definitely more on edge. Like everyone is just so wound tight.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. And I was telling you, we talk a lot about minimalism on our podcast, but I was actually going back and rewatching the documentary, and the whole second half, like, so the first half is sort of about your actual stuff and why you need to, minimize and live smaller. But then the whole second half is about like people who are need to minimalize to reduce the stress.
Yep.
And like when you have less things and when you have, you're not so tied up in your phone or whatever, it's just this like more stress-free life. And I would love to accomplish that because I'm certainly guilty of, going off on someone, not about organic kale, mind you, but like you said, misdirected anger. And, but then I started thinking about it and I was like, is it... So for instance, millennials, like we get a really bad name. Like people call us snowflakes and we're too sensitive and blah, blah, blah. But my thing is like, is it necessarily bad to be more sensitive about things? Because like you look at politics and it's like people are getting stuff done. Like millennials and kids are getting stuff done nowadays because they're so sensitive to what's going on around them.
Like positive changes.
Right.
It's such an issue for me because I'm somewhere in the middle between millennial and like, I was born in 83. So I'm somewhere in between. They call them micro millennials. It's like this weird small group that doesn't quite fit into either. And I just don't, I love the political correctness to an extent because you can't go around saying the N-word.
Right.
You can't go around saying the F word about homosexuals. You can't go around. And it's like, so yes, when people used to say, oh, that's so gay, that got shut down quickly, and I was like, man, this is amazing. So you can stop, very politically incorrect things if, you rally around it. But then at some point, it just gets to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And where is that line is the question. I don't think I know. I don't think I don't think anyone really knows.
Yeah.
All we know is that it just feels wrong when people get mad about silly things and you're like, okay, that's the line. That's where it is.
I found it and you've crossed it and that's enough.
Yeah, it's like when someone's crossed it, but you don't know how far back from that line it should start. Like there was an incident that I can't even talk about.
Okay.
Because it's that sensitive.
Wow.
And I can't even, and I know this is super annoying that you can't even know what I'm talking about. All I can say is it was once again a very funny, normal thing. And people just got sensitive.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that is the line. Like that, when can you not just be yourself as long as you're not saying racial slurs, as long as you're not, you know what I mean? Like,
well, as long as you're not maliciously hurting someone, and I get that, people are sensitive and what hurts them might not have hurt them if you had said it 10 years ago or whatever. But at the same time, if someone is either joking about something or they're not doing it with malicious intent, I think that's where the line is.
right.
Yeah. And I think that the Twitter environment and online social media, Facebook trolls, I think that's played a large part of it too.
And sometimes I'm like, oh, great. Thank you guys. Because they'll kind of help a situation. Me Too movement, for example. What an incredible movement this has been. And you could say because people were sensitive.
Exactly.
And so you're like, wow, thank you for being sensitive enough to say, no, you can't just slap my butt.
Right.
Like, that's not okay. And like some dudes were like, what?
Yeah, you're being so sensitive.
Yeah,
it was just a
whatever.
joke. Yeah.
And
no.
that's not okay. And it's like, because of the sensitive people, thank you, for coming out and making a scene. But at the same time, it's like sometimes I'm finding, especially lately in the last like couple months, people are going after the wrong people. And that is where everything is starting to corrode. You can't attack the ones on your own side.
Right. Well, and not only that, I mean, especially in the terms of sexual harassment, there's certainly a spectrum, right? Someone like Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein, they're drugging women, they're raping women. That is completely, there should be a level of outrage for that. And then there should be a level of outrage of, someone who is saying something that makes you uncomfortable, right? Which is still completely not okay. But there's a spectrum of outrage. And I feel like it's just this blanket, attack on people. And I don't know.
It's tough. It's a tough scenario because I can see every angle. And see, that's one thing that I can definitely say. I'm not ignorant. I'm not so hard-headed and so opinionated, which I am, but I'm not so out of my mind that I can't see your argument.
Yeah.
I can, of course, see the guy saying, why can't I say you look sexy today? You know, of course I can see what he's trying to say. You've been friends for years. You've been working together for years. I'm so sorry I said that. Don't crucify me, you know. But at the same time, I can see where the woman who, you know, felt diminished or marginalized because of that comment and all these things. So it's a tough situation. All I can say is that the sensitivity is outrageous when it comes to beating up on people that are trying to help you.
Right.
And it's happening over and over again. Like Meryl Streep, perfect example. I mean, you had women and men even going after her. Like, how could you say you're a feminist, or how could you say you're fighting for us when you had a photo taken with him 2 years ago, or whatever?
Obviously, if Meryl Streep was aware of the situation, she would have totally not done that.
I've heard people going after Oprah because she used to be friends with Harvey Weinstein, all this. I'm like, listen, how many times have I known or associated myself with someone who maybe creeped me out? Maybe I even have heard rumors about this person, like the Meryl Streeps and the Oprahs of the world. But how do I know that A, those are true, or B, like, if I have to work with this person in a show business setting, if this person is, you know, somehow affiliated with my next film or whatever, and I've heard rumors, it's like she didn't know what to do. And now, guess what? She's now changing her ways. Right. She's now fighting for us. She's now never going to talk to that guy again. So it's like, stop crucifying the ones who are trying to help.
Well, and it's like everything is situational too. So you don't know everyone's backstory. You don't know the context of, you know, what they knew and what they didn't know. And I think, like you said, because they're now trying to help, like, let's embrace that. And I think that's a whole thing about forgiveness, is that, you know, you can forgive someone for not knowing or whatever, you know, maybe they messed up, but it's like, all right, now we're all on the same team, and like, let's just let that be.
Right. And I understand, like, and there's a gray area too. Like, okay, James Franco, you know, there's like a gray area where he shows up on the red carpet with a time's up button or whatever he had, trying to jump on to the right side of history. And people are like, whoa, you know, you're a total creep, and you were like hitting on a 17-year-old girl. The screenshots proved it. And, you know, so it's kind of like, whoa, dude, like, no, you don't get to be on this side.
Not without acknowledging that what you've done in the past happened and that it was wrong. And then, you know, again, so you have to take everything case by case and situationally.
Right.
I think it'd be interesting. I just had an idea. I think it'd be interesting to, like, after this is posted, if we post on, you know, either our Facebook page or something, and see if other people's perspective on this, if they feel like people are more sensitive, or if like some situation happened to them where they got attacked and they didn't feel like they should. Because I think it's happening more and more, but I'd be interested to hear other people's side of that.
It goes back to everyone being so damn wound so tight. Yeah. And all because of whether it's we're overworked these days, whether it's we have more stresses than ever in history. Who knows why we're wound? Well, I don't think the political climate helps.
Right.
We're getting further and further away from the center, and further hating one another who's not on our side. And because of this just tension in society, you end up lashing out at anything. Yeah. You know, like the Lady Doritos. Do you remember that whole controversy? The CEO of the Dorito company, I think it was PepsiCo, you know, she said that women and men eat Doritos differently, and they were looking into maybe making a chip that doesn't crunch as loud for women. Right. The outrage was unbelievable, including me. Hand up over here. I was so blown away. Now, it was not a rumor. That happened. She said that. And yes, it was a woman CEO. But at the same time, we don't have to call PepsiCo and be like, I'm never eating Doritos again. Like, I didn't think that rose to that level. Right. Yet I did see protesters at their headquarters, and I was like, this is a little much.
And again, if you step back a couple months, you know, since this has happened, in the grand scheme of things, they thought they were trying to help. Was it the right way to go about it? No. Should they have maybe done a couple of focus groups? Someone would have told them, maybe this is not a great idea.
Right.
But in the grand scheme of things, okay, they're just trying to help.
Right. Well, they're trying to sell Doritos is what they were trying to do. And they thought, hey, if we can market it and get more women to buy it, they didn't care. The thing is, you're not necessarily hurting anyone by trying to change your marketing. It's a stereotypical type thing. Like, oh, we're so dainty, we need special Doritos. So the outrage from hey, this is really politically incorrect to talk about this and to do this, maybe do it in private.
Well, yeah, again, they should have gotten some research. They should have said, you know what? Okay, maybe our dainty fingers can eat regular Doritos.
Right.
That's fine. But again, is it going to ruin my day? Am I going to lose sleep over it? No, because I just don't.
And I'm not,
care.
and again, going back, I'm not going to waste time out of my precious day and my precious energy protesting Doritos.
Right.
Let's all just for a second really grasp what you're fighting about, whether it's online or otherwise, and ask yourself, is this worth it? Is this really helping the society that we live in? And I don't think that protesting outside of the Doritos headquarters is helping anyone. In fact, I think that hurt. I think it greatly hurt, because then you look at advocates like us maybe and you're like, oh, these ladies are insane, they're just like feminazis,
right. Exactly,
totally unreasonable.
Yeah, you're hurting the whole cause. You're hurting the whole group that is trying to do something positive.
So I don't know. So in my situation, let's just say, try not to attack the ones on your side, because it makes us not even want to bother. I mean, have you seen that billboard on I-4? I saw it, like, it's crazy. It's a billboard and it says something along the lines of like, hey, don't forget to be courteous. Let someone in. Let's all keep, our calmness. And I was like, are you kidding? There is a billboard that someone is paying for to keep people from being insane.
Wait, whoa.
Okay. People are so wound tight.
But they're not advertising anything? It's not like a product or a company.
No.
It's like a PSA.
No, PSA. A full-blown PSA. No logo on it. No advertisement whatsoever. It was just a full-blown billboard on a very busy area on the highway saying, hey, don't forget to be courteous to people. What? It was something about courteous, or let's all practice courtesy. And I thought, I never thought I'd live to see the day when you have to beg human beings to be courteous.
Wait.
Because of the road rage is so astronomical right now. People are just killing each other.
Well, my thing is, first off, okay, props to them for trying to do something proactive about it. But on the other side, if I'm so wound up tight, I'm leaving work, I'm outraged, I'm on the road, there's traffic, someone just cut in front of me, I can't say that I'm going to look at a billboard and be like, oh, nope, you're so right. I just need to be more courteous.
All I know is that it's a sad state of affairs when we have to take out full page ads.
I mean, that's not cheap.
Ask people. No, I've looked into billboards. They're like $3,000 for 4 weeks.
Oh my God.
They're insanely expensive. For something like that, that's probably $5,000 because it was a high traffic area. But you're sitting there bumper to bumper and you look up and you're stuck. Your full attention is on that thing and it's just saying, please don't kill someone because they cut you off in traffic. That's essentially what it said. Let people in, like trying to say, like, let people in the lane.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Oh, that's just so sad.
I'm like, my kids are gonna have to live in this crap world.
Well, and that's my thing. Like, is this gonna continue getting worse?
Well, it's not getting better.
No, but I mean, imagine, like you said, by the time Nash and Nora are grown up, you're not gonna be able to say anyone or do anything to anyone or for anyone, and everything's just gonna be taken.
People are shooting each other on the highway on a daily.
Which happens now.
Yeah.
People are, and again, then they get mad and they go shoot up their workplace or whatever. Like, it's just. You're not going to be able to send them to school. They can't go to work. They're going to have to do everything from home.
I'm to the point where, like, if I accidentally cut someone off or anything like that, I'm genuinely terrified for my life, because what if this person thought I did it on purpose? What if he pulls out a gun and shoots me? I'll be like waving my hands so erratically to say sorry. Like, and then I'm like, oh no, what if he thinks I'm being aggressive?
Right,
like and then
you're actually cursing at him. You mother.
Right. Like I'm shaking my fist at him, or I'm like, no, hands up, both in the air, full, like, open palms.
You need like
I'm
a sign
sorry,
in your car.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. Don't shoot me.
I need it to be on a stick so I can hold it out the window. And like, I'll even like pop my head out like and smile so they know why the hands are flailing. That's where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's not a great place to be. Man, so you were telling me, speaking of outrage, something about people who that you would break up with over and being outraged over that. Your husband put together a list?
Oh my gosh, Marissa. So my husband, Mike, if you don't know him, he is hilarious. Yes. I mean, he'll have you crying. He's hilarious. And he's always asking Marissa questions about like basically where her line is with a dude.
Men, yeah.
Yeah, because she's single and, you know.
Well, because here's the context is that everyone says I'm too picky. That's what the bottom line is. Everyone says that you're too picky. You know, where's the line? What are you looking for? What are your, you know, non-negotiables? And Mike questions me about that regularly.
Right. Like he wants to know where her line is. And so I was like, oh man, we should start a segment called Mike's Burning Questions. Now, whether this lives past today, I don't know. We'll see. But I think it should because he asks so many to me on a weekly basis, but that by the end of the week, I've got a solid list.
Okay, all right.
So he emailed me his burning questions for you.
Do we have to give him a producer credit
on
the podcast?
Yes, we do because I laughed so hard that I was like, peeing myself. Wait,
but I also know your husband, and I also know that some of them we probably can't even say on the podcast.
I had to delete 2 from my list because they were so inappropriate. And then the ones that did make it, I had to slightly censor because he's so vulgar.
I wish he could come. Next time, let's have him come read them, and we'll just have to bleep them out.
I know. That would be funny.
Right,
okay, so this is one of his many burning questions.
Okay.
My husband's burning questions for Marissa. He says, hey, Marissa.
Hey,
this
Mike.
is what he wrote. You're on a first date with a guy grabbing coffee.
Uh-huh.
He's a decent guy, not bad looking for the most part. He's fun. He says as he reaches for his wallet, he says, would you like to have dinner this weekend? And you say yes. And he's pulling out his wallet to pay for the coffee. You're like, great, second date in the books. And you notice it's a Velcro wallet with Pokemon on it. And then he says, what do you do?
Oh, well, Mike.
This grown man has a Velcro Pokemon wallet.
Right, like I'm picturing like I'm on a date with Liam Hemsworth. Yes. He's beautiful. Everything's going great. I've already committed to the next date. Oh, man. And it's Velcro.
It's a Velcro wallet with Pokemon on it. Is he getting that second date, or is that such a turnoff you couldn't turn a blind eye?
I'm going to say I'd give him the second date.
Good.
Eventually, I want to find out what the hell is up with the Pokemon wallet, right? I want to be like, is this just like a sentimental childhood thing that your grandfather gave you and now he passed away? Or are you just really into anime and that kind of stuff?
And if so, even that is, if that's what he likes.
I need to find out how into it he is.
Marissa, question 2 from my husband's burning questions for Marissa. How long until you fart in front of your man? I think it's a solid question.
It's a solid question, and I will say my longest relationship has been 2 years, and we never did that in front of each other. Nope.
Shut up.
Nope. It was always like excusing myself to the restroom, or so clearly would have to be after 2 years.
Okay, that's unacceptable.
I mean, to who?
To the world. That is a normal bodily function that you shouldn't have to be a prisoner in your own house.
I know, but imagine if it's like real, like if we're just talking like no audible sound is coming out, then okay. But if we're talking,
that's worse because then you're just like looking around like, well, there's only 2 of us in here. I'd rather like know and be like, it usually happens like 6 months and one of you accidentally does. And then you're like, and then then it's on from then on.
No way. I've been in plenty of longer than 6-month relationships, and none of them have we done that. I've never done it in front of someone.
That's a real unfortunate circumstance, and it could be why you haven't found the one.
Okay.
Not because of you. I mean, because if a dude is that long and not feeling comfortable to do that, then he's too tight,
or he's classy.
No, you got to be able to be comfortable around your man.
Oh my god!
After how long? Come on!
This is a ridiculous argument.
What dude just holds it in for 2 years?
I mean, or like 6 months or a year, whatever.
This apparently, he says, is a question for both ladies.
Wait, now I want to know how many men you've done that in front of.
Oh, please! After 6 months, it's on.
Lord.
I mean, I'm being generous with 6 months, maybe 3 to 4. And that's tough. I mean,
class it up.
It's not like I started. I always, just like I love you, I always make them say it first. And if they do it,
right, because
it'll take me a little while after they do it, because then I like to act like, ew,
God,
too far. It stinks.
Give me the next question. I'm over this conversation.
Question for both ladies in the list of my husband's burning questions. Things are great with a guy. You decide to take him to bed.
Where is this going?
No, we're going to skip this one. Clearly I didn't edit that one, and he thinks this is okay to say, and it's not. Wow. Marissa, would you date a guy who wears Simpsons boxers?
Yes.
I thought so too. I was like, that's not so bad.
That doesn't bother me as much as the Pokemon Velcro wallet.
My husband's burning questions for Marissa. Marissa, you meet a guy online, hit it off, talk on the phone all night type of thing. He's gorgeous. Good job. You go to meet him in person. He is the guy you thought he was online, but he's wearing a Bluetooth earpiece. Wait for it. During your whole date.
Nope. Hard line. Hard no. Don't even have to think about that. Absolutely not. You know what's funny is I asked my friend about this.
Bluetooth's a real hard no for me.
Know what? We were talking to someone about this, I don't know, months ago, and this girl said the only acceptable excuse would be if they were like a doctor in a hospital and they immediately have to, but let's give him, a pass and say he's not a doctor.
What if he needs it for like translating? And it's one of those translating earpieces.
Then I don't know how we're even going to communicate.
Wait, then you would have known.
If we would have been talking on the phone. Yeah, no. Hard pass on the Bluetooth.
Oh my gosh. Continuing the segment of my husband Mike's burning questions for Marissa. Marissa, perfect guy. Hot guy, good job, funny, etc. You go to his apartment. He has 5 cats.
Nope.
We're talking about dream guys here.
Nope. I don't care if it was Liam Hemsworth, Nick Jonas, Zac Efron, any of my man crushes. 5 cats is absolutely on it. Even 1 cat. Okay, this is going to get me some heat online, and I'm ready for, I can already feel it. The Twitter trolls.
Oh, the sensitivity. Yes.
Right, the sensitivity alert. We should have like an alarm system every time we say something that's going to be like controversial.
What we should do is just already say what they're going to say. So I'm going to do it. Marissa, who do you think you are? There is nothing wrong with cats. I have 6 cats and I love every one of them like my own child. You are so self-righteous.
Yeah.
All right, so we got that out of the way.
Who are you that you're single and you decide that, they're perfect?
This is why you're still single.
Precisely,
okay,
yes.
Now we got that out of the way.
But I need to say, though, that even at 1 cat, I've considered it a red flag. There's just something about a single dude with a cat that weirds me out.
Okay. I'll give you that, but I went on to date him for like 2 years. But
we're not talking about your dating situations because that breaks all the norms, Laura. I'm referring to.
But I was weirded out, is what I'm saying.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm curious
I looked past it, but I was weirded out.
If other women feel.
I was
that way.
weirded out.
Really?
I remember being like, this is weird. And he was like really into the cat.
So there's this guy on Instagram that I follow and he is super attractive and I've considered like sliding into his DMs before, but he has a cat and he posts photos and videos with it all the time. And I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Just coincidentally, not, a cause and effect, but the guy turned out to be gay.
Yeah.
That had the cat that I met.
Yeah.
Not that has anything to do with it, but I did feel something off is what I'm saying. He
True.
He certainly wasn't into me.
Maybe it wasn't the cat. It was just the other, radar going off.
Okay. My husband Mike's burning questions for Marissa continues. Marissa, you're on the date of your life. This is it. This dude is the one, Mike says. And you get up from the table from the date. He looks at you in the eyes and says, you want to go get jiggy with it? What do you respond? Mike wants to know. Let's go get jiggy with it.
First off, only your husband could create these kinds of scenarios. Second off, I actually have no idea. First I'd be like, excuse me? And then I would wait for his reply, like, what does that mean?
You know what it means. It's just the fact that he says jiggy with it that you'd have to question everything. You'd have to question everything.
Part of me feels like it's super superficial because it's just a term that if everything else is perfect, great job, great family, great life, whatever, we're very compatible, you can adjust someone's lingo maybe or teach them that, no, maybe that term's not cool anymore.
And furthermore, why are you asking me to go home and do that? Like, couldn't we throw a little romance into that?
My friend just sent me a message on Bumble, and it was like her going back and forth with this guy, and he just straight up, like 2 messages in, was like, hey, you want to come over? And she goes, oh, I'm just not really, into that. I'd rather take it more casual. And he goes, what do you mean by more casual? I have to take you out first, and then you'll come over? I was like...
You're like, yeah, it's a crazy concept, but yeah.
But it's the same thing as like, you want to come get jiggy with it? Like, how bold of you.
Well, let's be honest. Mike's hypothetical questions for you would never happen.
Well, no, I'm not so sure. I'm actually not so sure nowadays.
I would just die if someone said, let's go get jiggy with it. Okay, Mike, Laura's husband's burning questions for Marissa. Marissa, you meet a guy for a dinner. You have a really good time. As you're leaving, he falls down a flight of stairs. Do you find him less attractive? You see him flailing down one step after another. Like, boom, 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 screaming. You hear the thuds of each stair. And he finally hits the bottom. Who knows what position he's now in? Legs could be wide open. Just a sack of potatoes falling down a staircase. He looks at you. Are you no longer attracted to him?
Is it sad if I say yes?
I think it's fair.
It's not that I'm no longer attracted to him, because easily the same thing could happen to me. But yeah, definitely I'm not like, oh, I wasn't like, at first I was thinking about, oh, I can't wait till what happens when we get out of here. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I'm going to get you an Uber and I'll see you next time.
I will say, to redeem my souls, when I go straight to hell, I would say, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, I would be genuinely concerned. Once I found out no bones had broken, I think I would be like, wow.
Right, like, oh.
Ooh, we're going to have to rebuild that chemistry back up.
We're going to have to start over. Okay, so wait, now I have a question. Is that it on the list?
That's it. Those are Mike's burning questions. He'll have more next week.
First off, thank you, Mike. And I hope he makes a live appearance to deliver it, because I can just picture. First off, I want to know what the questions were that didn't make it onto the air.
Oh,
you know you don't.
I'm
dying to know. Okay, wait, I have a question for you. And this is a little bit serious. It's not nearly as funny. But I was online and I saw this study and I was like, I got to bring this up to Laura. So there was a study that said, it asked people, should you hold out for your soulmate or do you settle for what's best currently now? Right? And so 61% of people said that they would hold out for their soulmate, or that they had held out for their quote unquote soulmate. And then 11% of people said that they just settled for whatever the best was that you get now. And so my question is, first off, is there such thing as a soulmate? Second off, how do you know that your soulmate is ever going to come, right? Like if for me right now, am I ever going to find my soulmate, or am I better off just settling for someone who fell down a flight of stairs and then I'm just being too picky.
Right. Or wants to get jiggy with it.
Or
and
wants,
like,
right.
The soulmate thing is, I think it's very damaging to society. This whole notion that there's one person out there for you and you may or may not find them. That's so damaging. What are we saying that, if you don't find them, oh, sucks for you. You're just going to be alone your whole life. Like, that's such crap. I think you can be in love with multiple people your whole life and think that you're with your soulmate multiple times. I do not buy into the soulmate nonsense. I never have.
So how did you know, after the 1 trillion men that you dated in your life, how did you know that Mike was different and Mike was the one, and that you weren't going to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to move on to the next?
Yeah. Hey, there's something I buy into is the one.
Okay.
Because to me, the one is totally different than a soulmate. A soulmate's someone you're trying to say, two souls come together and create one, and like there's only one in the world. To me, the one means the one that is most compatible for you. And so you end up marrying that person. That's why they're called the one that you end up with. Like, you guys have a ton of things in common, or maybe it's, whatever that brings you together. All of the things are lining up the way you want them to.
But couldn't you argue that means that person's your soulmate, that you found the soulmate for you?
No, because I think, if you eventually get divorced, people, 50% divorce rate?
Yeah.
And then you meet someone else 10 years later and you're like, oh, now this is my soulmate. So it's like, come on.
Yeah.
The one is just the one that you choose. And I believe that in life, we choose people. Mm-hmm. I know a soulmate means like, you don't have to put any work. It's just, that's it. You're madly in love and that's it. Like, no, relationships are work.
So, but couldn't you argue though that you settled for the one that's best right now for you?
But how do you know? You can't predict the future.
Right.
You can't say, well, I know that there's, so-and-so 20 years from now, but I'm going to settle for what I have right now because I don't feel like waiting 20 years.
I just wonder if there's ever been, and I'm sure there has, but I'm wondering about people who have been in a situation where they're with someone and everything seems to be lining up great. You're happy. Right. You could see yourself with them in the future, but in the back of your head, you're like, maybe there's someone more perfect out there for me.
Well, then my answer to you would say, if you're thinking maybe there's someone more perfect for me, that's not the one.
Yeah.
When you find the one, you're not even wondering because you think that is the person.
Okay.
100%. Like when I met Mike for the first time, so cheesy. Get ready. Are you ready?
I'm going to barf.
Okay, you're going to barf. And I apologize in advance. Like when our eyes met.
No, stop. Just don't even finish. Laura, do not even finish that sentence. Oh, God. I need water.
Why can't I share my love?
I'm gonna finish.
Why can't I share my happiness?
My vomit down.
How much bitterness do we spew on this show? Can't I just share a tad of happiness? When our eyes met, there was like an electric shock.
You're using every cliche metaphor in the book and I can't handle it.
It's a cliche for a reason.
I know, but it's stupid.
The cliches come from some ounce of truth, and because so many people feel it, it becomes cliche.
No, I'm just sad and bitter.
The electricity was there. You could feel it. Granted, it was 2 seconds, we just walked by each other type thing. It's not like, the next day we said we're in love and 2 weeks later we eloped somewhere. It wasn't like that. It was just what I'm saying is the first contact that I ever saw that man or knew he existed, it was fireworks. It was a chemistry that was undeniable. And, it took 3 months for us to even start dating. Like, it's not like it was just instant dating, but there was something there. And there was no denying that I had never felt that with anyone else.
Are we done with the cliches now? Because we've said fireworks, electricity, our eyes met.
I hate you.
No, I hate you. I hate how perfect your love story is. That's all it really comes down to.
So yeah,
I totally.
So
get
I don't
what you're
believe
saying.
in soulmates.
Yeah.
I believe that if something happened and my God forbid, or if we got divorced or something, I believe one day I could find love again. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. And I've actually heard the argument that soulmate isn't just the person who you're married to. It could be, you know, a best friend who is a soulmate, or your parents. There's that connection that you just don't, there's a connection that you just don't feel with other people. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic partner. So I could totally see that argument. But when you think of like the perpetuation of Disney princesses and finding the one and, you know, getting married and all this beautiful stuff, it's kind of like, you know, is that a real thing, or is it just, you know?
I mean, yeah, there are plenty of those. Yeah. But I just think that it's very damaging for people to be acting like that's it. Mm-hmm. You know, if you don't have this, you know, fairy tale romance and you've never found your soulmate and you're doomed to a life of aloneness. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, come on.
With 5 cats.
Eventually you're going to find a guy who doesn't have 5 cats and who doesn't have a Pokemon wallet and just kind of fits the bill, and you guys have a great time together, and eventually love will grow. Maybe it's not the fireworks in the beginning, but it grows into something where you're like, I can't see myself with anyone else. Right. But it's not always right at the first, you know, contact,
the fireworks,
like it was for me moment. You know. Hey, you know, and then you're gonna get married, and then you're gonna be married for a while, and then you're gonna be like me, where Mike said, hey Laura, where's the toilet paper?
Oh my God.
And I said, what do you mean, where's the toilet paper? He's like, we're out. And I'm like, so get another roll. And he had no idea where it was stored.
No kidding.
No idea.
In your own home.
In our own home, because he had never changed it. He didn't know where we kept the toilet paper in the house.
Was it because he was too busy listening to his new vinyl album every week?
I was like, is this insane, or am I being like sensitive?
Overly sensitive.
I don't know. I never know anything anymore. But I was just like, really, Mike? You don't know where we keep the toilet paper?
Well, where do you keep it?
In the pantry on the bottom. And I was like, he's like, well, I've just never had to change it. You've always changed it. Why haven't you changed it? And I'm like, get the hell out of here.
Oh, Mike.
I slap
Mike,
you.
The audacity.
Well, this was a nice chat, Marissa.
Do I feel better than when we started?
You know, I don't think we ever do.
No.
I really don't.
No.
But I hope people at least enjoy listening to this. You should follow us on Facebook, Face of a Feminist Podcast. It's a closed group. If you ask to join it, we will accept it, of course.
Yeah, and I'll post the sensitivity topic in there because I'm really interested to hear what people have to say.
Oh
about
yeah,
that.
like a little poll.
Yeah,
we need to do more polls. Oh, I'm already in the planning stages of the next Face of a Feminist event.
Are you?
Which is opera burlesque night.
Oh hell yes!
Isn't that cool? So we can dress up.
Sign me up.
And it's going to be all female opera singers.
That's
it's going to be really cool. I'm excited.
Hey, we've got the mailing list too, where if you want to find out like about the events and when tickets are going on sale or when our new episode is out, you can go to faceofafeminist.com too and sign up there.
Yep. So, and all of our podcasts are on the website as well. Some people have trouble with certain apps, with certain episodes. Like if it's not playing, you know how technology is. If you can't figure out something, if it's not playing for whatever reason, it's always on the website, faceofafeminist.com, under the podcast tab.
Yep. And we're also all over social media. All of mine is at Marissa on Air.
Mine is at Lady Laura Diaz, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, we're on Instagram, Face of a Feminist as well.